Today marks 6 months since the development ideas for the interior were first considered. And here we are installing them into the troop carrier. We managed to shave off about 25 kilograms from the original alloy design that I had in my previous troop carrier and add 25 litres to the water tank capacity. There is marginally less packing space, but far more interior living space, and ease of access to the storage has been improved.
I'll tell you what, if you did a bracket coming off this holding that, just extend it all the way and make a shelf.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You just put a shelf,
a little
like
shelf
a
for
shelf
toiletry, so you can have your toiletry bags.
Put a stop end,
yeah,
and then you can put all your bits in.
It's now time to fit the 12-volt DC and 240-volt electrical systems. Heiner is kindly allowing me to do the installation here, permitting me easy access to his team's expertise, as well as access to his parts shop, with everything that I will need for the installation right here as I need them. My aim here, though, is to learn some of the finer points of DC installations. For example, that I have only recently learnt about dual wall heat shrink. It actually has a adhesive property on the inside, so it does the sealing job properly. And all these lessons will be shared on the Overland workshop. The DC installation includes EGON's new relay hub as well as the water hub 2.0, both of which I will show you as I assemble all of these components into the Troopy. I'm going to be spending quite a bit of time in the next 2 weeks at Klarmann Automotive Services building the electrical installation in my troop carrier. This is the first time I have done A, such a complex electrical installation, and B, done it under the supervision of experts. And I'm hoping that I'm going to learn a lot of the finer points and be able to share them with you as well. Anderson plug. I need lugs, cables, okay, Antron batteries already in there. And I think, though, what I'm going to do is, there's so much cable of different sizes, I think I'm going to come in and just get it as I need it. I should add here that Victron Energy has donated quite a bit of kit for the build. I've not really used a lot of Victron Energy products before, with the exception of this guy, which is a battery monitor, which is first rate. But I'm expanding it to something a little bit more capable, which includes this guy, which is a battery monitoring system, and it has a screen, which is this guy. But thank you, Victron, for contributing to this project. And having the box outside of the vehicle to basically be able to do most of the wiring is just, I can't imagine doing this much wiring in a confined space like that. So this is making it a lot easier.
Time to drill.
Again, using masking tape to mark out the center line, mark out where the holes will be drilled, and in this case we're fitting a EGON DC-HUB, which is in effect our fuse box, and a few other things as well. But basically it'll sit like that because I've pre-drilled all the holes. I know that when I fit it, it'll be perfectly straight, and all my cables will run through these holes here. All right, there she goes. Within easy access of the back is the Victron monitor screen, 2 USB and 2 12-volt power points, as well as a 10-amp AC socket. In addition to the DC installation is an AC installation because I've got a very large inverter and it will be feeding current to various points in the vehicle, so I can do induction cooking and various other things with it. I am not doing the AC installation. I'm leaving all of that to them. You know, working with Heiner is like having a schoolmaster looking over your shoulder, checking out everything you do. Do you think he's going to pass that? This is what I'm fitting into the Troop Carrier. It is a 3 kilowatt inverter. It is an auto switch unit. In other words, when you take shore power, it automatically turns off your battery system and then supplies the AC current through your vehicle directly from the AC source. And the moment you switch it off, it then reverts to battery. It also has a 120 amp AC battery charger. If you had to buy all of those different items separately, you'd be spending over $4,000. I received some good advice from the guys at Klarmann's about how to keep my cabling neat. And they have made up some very nice aluminium brackets for the DC-DC chargers to be housed in the recesses of the body panels. The metal brackets attached to the metal bodywork will also serve with the dissipation of heat. Day 3, and we've been making excellent progress. Let me show you what we've done. That will be the resting place for the box that I've been working on. The complexity of the system has been increased tenfold by the fact that I want to do induction cooking. And as I have been building this vehicle, I decided earlier on that I want to actually experience induction cooking and be able to answer the question, is it worth it? So what does it cost in terms of hard cash? What does it cost in terms of weight? And here I'm seeing that the cost is quite high in terms of complexity of the installation. With this kind of high capacity inverter, I can't just use an extension lead and plug it into the inverter. It has to be wired into the car, which means 240 volt AC system, which means specialists to come in and do the final wiring and sign it off and give you a certificate of safety. Because these things can kill you, just like AC from the wall socket can kill you. The problems are the same. So if you're going to go high capacity inverters for high capacity electrical usage like induction cooking, there's no shortcut. Of course, the EGON DC-HUB, we're now starting to take cables into the hub and out of the hub to basically feed the electrical components inside the vehicle. Our MPPT solar controller for external solar panels. I've built a aluminium frame around it to act as a heat sink. There is not a great deal of ventilation in this area. These do get warm, but they rarely get very, very hot. That is the 240 volt system, which we don't connect here. This is actually connected by a specialist. So we've just run all the cables and we'll leave the experts to wire that up. Two 200 amp hour lithium batteries that have a rated maximum continuous discharge of 175 amps. So two of them in parallel together, of course, will be sufficient to feed the 3 kilowatt inverter. I have made up these two battery cables, and they will basically link these two batteries together like that, And as you can see down here, that's a fuse box, that's the shunt for the Victron system, whose brain is sitting right here. And this is where we have installed our two Victron DC-DC chargers. Their capacity is 30 amps each, and they are going to be covered with a vent, which we're going to put in there. We're going to put two vents in. The thing is with these DC-DC chargers, they generate a lot of heat. The trouble is with that, they will actually reduce the charge current when they get too hot. So we have to make sure that they don't get too hot. This is the box that will contain the water boiler. And that unit there is a new product called the EGON Relay Hub. I'll explain that to you later. And in that cavity goes the EGON Water Hub, the new one.
Fridge rear, F3, fridge front. What else have we got in there? The small
Sockets.
fuses.
USB and sockets at the back. With the travel body.
Travel body is gonna run through the relay hub.
I've asked Heiner to designate each of the fuses in both the DC hub and relay hub.
11 for the relay hub. Servo GX can be F5. I've got one more. We had one more that
You
needs
need all
to
the
be
power for the switches.
power supply.
Yep.
Yeah, that's part of the relay hub
Relay
now.
hub.
It's got
The
its
purpose
own
of the
drive,
relay
the
hub
water
is to allow remote switching of selected accessories.
Haven't put the water heater on there yet, but wasn't there something else that we had that needed a lot of power? 13 is going to be DC-DC chargers. Do the 50 amp.
Heiner will also nominate the fuses and all of the cable sizes.
Twin. 25 amp. 6 mil. Twin.
So, this does make it simpler. The DC hub, I don't need to put lugs or crimps or heat shrink on any of these cables. These are very, very low voltage drop clamps. But as an installation though, it's I did all of this. I would just go to experts and say, okay, how, and they'll give me specifics. I knew a lot of it, but the stuff they added, the value they added, has been fantastic. Things that I didn't know, just simple things that I just didn't know about. Not just doing a good installation, but doing a really good installation that will last a long time. And again, the theme comes up again and again and again and again. Reduce voltage drop. All the steps to, and they are fanatical about it. And that, I guess, is what makes the difference between a good install and a mediocre install. I think that's it, actually. So I'm very pleased with what's happened in the last week. I've learnt a lot, and I think this is a really good install. I've got a twist there that I need to sort out. It's the morning of the 5th day, and I have actually finished the box now. It is ready to be put into the Land Cruiser. Let me show you how I have wired up the EGON DC-HUB. Some people have called the EGON DC-HUB a glorified fuse box, and they're not wrong. But what do you mean by glorified? I mean, if you think about it, a Boeing 747 is just a glorified Sopwith Camel. So really what it has enabled me to do here is to connect so many things that you cannot connect to an ordinary fuse box. For example, I've got my start battery there. I've got my solar panel, Anderson plug, so I can plug in an external solar panel there. That is my MPPT controller for the solar panel as well. Okay, so that's the connector, that's the charge cable, and that is also a charge cable, but that's from the DC-DC chargers that are actually installed in the vehicle. On this side over here, I've got a nice big connector, 80 amp connector for the my compressor, big compressor. That's the big 150 amp connector for the auxiliary batteries, and these are all 25 amp connectors. I've been working with this list, so then I can actually write down a table and stick it on the cover that goes on top of here, which is the last thing we do, obviously, so I can then know what fuse goes where. And these little LEDs here actually will light up if there is a fuse failure, so it's self-diagnosing. It actually diagnoses a fuse. I just look at it to know if a fuse is blown. That's all I have to do. And so let's just quickly go through it. Those are my overhead lights. That's the fridge between the seats. That's the fridge in the back, the bigger fridge. I've got sockets and the back as well. Now those two are for the water heater. That is for my cell FIGO. It's a cell phone signal amplifier. Oh yes, it was this one here, which is the positive feed to the Victron Servo GX. Okay, and then I have other connections down here. Basically, here goes directly to the relay hub. I'll show you that later. That allows me to switch things, but that's basically just a 50 amp feed directly to the relay hub.
Okay. Looks good. Yeah, just push it a bit down again. You got it? Stop.
You want it front? Shove it in the front.
Thanks for watching. If you are a true adventurer at heart, join us at overlandworkshop.com as some of the world's most experienced overland explorers share their secrets of successful expedition travel.